because now we have mass media talking about cloud seeding. So we're going to be talking about cloud seeding, everybody.
Interesting. YouTube butt plugging shales starting to cover some kind of weather modification. And if two shales like you are going to be involved in weather modification, then we have to pay attention and see everything you say makes sense.
And this right here is a ground-based cloud seeding system.
Oh, you're going to use mainstream now, especially a so-called verified channel. You guys always saying these channels work for YouTube and can't be any good.
Most of the YouTubers that we're going to be going through are not verified, and what it means when you're verified is that you literally work for YouTube.
Want you to become familiar with this. Apparently, these are all over the place.
Sorry, but I never seen one, like most people.
And they're very simple little setups. Let's learn about our ground-based cloud seeding.
County, home to one of the longest running cloud seeding operations in the country.
There you go.
Here we go. This is proof of cloud seeding and the Texas floods.
That's how it works. Pretty simple, huh? They got these tubes, they've got a spark arrestor around it, and inside there's a flare. They have some wires that go to the flare, that go into a control box.
Smoke.
We've got some ground-based cloud seeding equipment right here, and we're going to get to hear all about how it works and see it in action. Let's check it out. Cloud seeding is the most common type of weather modification, and it has many different techniques and applications. Today, it's mostly used to increase rain and snowfall, reduce the size of hail, and reduce fog at airports.
Traditionally, cloud seeding has been done from the air.
There's two new things.
So airplanes have...
Yeah.
This is kind of strange. Normally you call out people that have pyramid symbols or triangle symbols on their shirt, or have a 33 visible somewhere.
How many billions or trillions possibly?
Trillions.
So here we've got 256 flash flood warnings across, of course, 33 states in only 6 days.
Oh, no mention of the 33. Normally you guys jump out of your chair.
Two new
Reduce
things
hail,
added. Yeah, reduce hail
and reduce fog.
And reduce fog. Those are two new things that Augustus hasn't really brought up.
Yeah, let's get it all out there and talk about it all, everybody.
had racks on them where these same flares are positioned on the airplane and the airplane flies into the storm.
We used to get images like this in '69, for example, with the moon landing. They fed us cartoon pictures and told us it was real. So how can you share a video from this CNET channel? CNET's biggest shareholder of 12.5% is BlackRock. Yeah. How cloud seeding works. So a plane flies over the clouds and sprinkles some fairy dust in those clouds that are made from ice crystals or water, according to the science, and then it's going to release its water or snow. That idea sounds idiot, especially when you think water or snow that have more molecular weight than air can fly. Do you clowns think water and ice with more density as air can come floating in from far? If clouds were made of water, they won't even have existed, you clowns.
So in order to reduce the cost to the client and reduce our carbon footprint.
Reducing carbon footprint, that's a pure joke. So Jason and Ronnie, do you believe in that bullshit also? You two morons want people to pay more carbon tax? So this ground-based station uses the updraft. I never seen an updraft. Otherwise you would see an updraft hitting the cloud and blowing this cloud apart, of course. Updraft that magically stopped at the first layer of clouds. We never see clouds going up or getting disturbed by some magic updraft.
We've been able to station these on the ground. Now we can do this in places where weather permits.
Behind a barbed wire fence designed to keep away curious cattle, the cloud seeding gear awaits the right kind of weather.
And most important is the wind direction, because this can blow in any direction, so you must be lucky. And I saw some hills in that area, so 500 meters down the road the wind can be in another direction. Jesus Christ, what a bullshit.
So these are referred to as AHOGs. That stands for Automated High Output Ground Seeding Systems. We've got three primary components of our equipment here. The first is the control module
So
you see
basic.
behind me. Then we have our actual cloud seeding flares. The cameras for security. It also helps us observe weather conditions in real time and make sure that all of the equipment is operating correctly during a storm. Inside these canisters are the flares with the seeding agents. The canisters are used as spark arresters, so they prevent sparks from reaching the ground. So if we pull off the spark arrestor, you can see the flare inside. The ignition of the
There it
flares are
is.
controlled from the control module that's behind us. So the white triangle there is a cell
It's like a
service
Roman
modem,
candle.
and then the solar panel keeps us powered. Inside we have a battery and then a control board. So the control board interacts with the software. We're linked or synced with the software in Utah
So
currently.
this thing is
and that allows
as
us to
simple as
fire
a
or
solar
ignite any of the
powered
flares
gate.
from that remote.
Yeah, it's handy to place the control box without any tiny shelter. Yeah, that's what Americans do. They place the fuse box outside, and when the fuse pops, when there is a thunderstorm and rain, you have to go outside. And you know, water and electricity is like water and fire. So you have to fix your fuse outside in the fucking rain. How retarded.
location.
Because of the lack of clouds and proper wind conditions,
Yeah, the wind direction on the ground can be different than the wind direction, let's say, on 1 kilometer. So you must be lucky to aim your fairy dust on the right spot. It's a 1 in a million.
today is not a good day for cloud seeding at all. But Garrett and his team are going to light a flare for us anyway, so we can show you how it works. There's just one small problem. The battery in the control module died shortly before we arrived, but it's nothing a little jump start can't fix. After a little juice from Garrett's truck,
Jump
it's time
it.
to set off the flare.
The primary seeding agent in this is silver iodide. Silver iodide is a simple compound. It's polar in nature like water, so there's
All right, so silver iodide is the main chemical that's being used for cloud seeding, and this is going to be something that we're talking about on Flash Flood Fridays.
Oh, that's funny. Flash Flood Friday. 3 times the F, 3 times the 6. So these clowns want to tell me silver iodide with more molecular weight rises up into the atmosphere. So silver iodide is like 8 times more dense than air, and it still flies into the atmosphere. What a clowns.
Going forward is whether or not this compound is safe. There's a lot of evidence that shows this is not something that you want to have raining down into your waterways and your food supply.
Absolutely.
Ah, the good old scaremongering tactics. Get lost, clowns.
chemical properties that help attract water molecules to silver iodide.
Silver iodide attracts moist. So then you have to believe clouds are made from water. But for some reason, 99,000 out of 100,000 times, the windows in planes stay dry. Drones stay dry. Paragliders stay dry. But the silver iodide can attract water from the clouds. What a joke.
It's also structured molecularly similar to ice. So it helps generate or helps spawn the generation of ice.
Another cartoon. Looks like another cartoon that we had between 2020 and 2022, what was it called? Corona.
Build up, and then that becomes a hailstone or a snowflake that falls here primarily as rain. So one flare like this has billions and billions of potential sites for that water to congregate around. We'll launch them in sequences. We watch the radar to see when bands of the highest concentration of liquid water.
So they're just lighting a flare at ground level,
Yeah.
and then it's being whisked away into the atmosphere.
No, there is no proof. This stuff, this silver iodide, 9 times, 8 times heavier than air, can rise up to the atmosphere, into the clouds. Can you show me, please? Instead of repeating mainstream media.
And this is what they call cloud seeding.
Well, he was letting you know
Passing
that what
above
they
us
do
in
is
the
they look
clouds.
for bands of precipitable water, PW. Once they see these precipitable conditions that are good to actually have a spout, what they do is they then turn a spout on in those precipitable clouds, right? And they say that they wouldn't usually rain down, but they just give it a little nudge.
So these butt pluggers think water vapor rises up from the earth and create a cloud. Yeah, most retards believe in that, but it's virtually impossible. So in other words, they believe water can fly. Are you guys saying clouds come floating in while releasing rain all the time from, let's say, 500-kilometer distance? How much water there is in the clouds? How much water a cloud contains? Dimensions like 1 by 1 mile and then 300 feet thick. So that's a lot of metric tons of water. Minimum 47 and maximum 237 metric tons of water. To convince me cloud seeding is real, you first have to prove clouds are flying water.
We're going to ignore the clouds.
I don't see the plane windows getting wet, flying through all this water.
Say, yeah. That's the sound of silence.
And this drone flying through the clouds that are like 13,000 feet thick and don't become wet. I will speed up the footage a little bit, otherwise it takes way too long. Oh, this drone camera should be soaking wet, flying through all this flying water, or even ice crystals. It should be covered in ice crystals. Yeah, that's it. This is normal speed again.
Yep.
And we try to target those high concentration pockets in the storm systems. We'll launch between 3 and 20 flares for a typical storm. Once the flare is lit, it takes a little bit of time to carry up into the clouds.
It not looks like this stuff 8 times more weight as air is going to rise up into the atmosphere. I wonder if this cameraman is wearing a mask. This whole area should be contaminated with that fairy dust, and they're not even wearing masks. Huh.
And once it's up at the proper elevation, it'll take about 20 minutes to instigate the rain or the snow process. So overall, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes.
We can see this stuff stays low at the ground and not even rises up that high.
Of the ground-based seeding flares, and the composition is silver iodide, right? This is the ice nucleating agent critical for cloud cold seeding. Fuel, aluminum or magnesium powder.
All this nanodust must laying around here on this field, and these guys walking around as if it's not dangerous. The wind can pick up some aluminium nanodust, and then you can breathe it in. This whole area is polluted with aluminium nanodust, and the sky don't give a shit about it.
Before you're seeing
What's
the
really
maximum result.
interesting about the whole situation that we went through is, so Kerr County and Kerrville had their flood on the early morning of the 4th, and ours took place on the early morning of the 5th. So when we were podcasting, if you go back and watch our podcast from July 4th, you'll hear the fireworks that were being shot off. And we would like to know if those fireworks had silver iodide, or what type of lattice work did those chemicals have that were being shot up into the sky, because they did go on for quite a while.
Jesus Christ, what a fucking fantasy.
And they were shooting those fireworks into the sky, and or were they actual silver iodide bombs that were being Roman candles being lit off as well, even stronger than these types of flares, in conjunction with also flying above the clouds and dropping the silver iodide from planes at the same time as they were shooting off.
So the shooting of firework into the clouds, and also flying with planes over the clouds and sprinkle magic fairy dust. You're just an imbecile. So this magic fairy dust falls down when you drop it from a plane, and rises up when you release it on Earth. Let me get this straight. They drop fairy dust on the clouds. That means it's dropping because it have more weight. And from ground level, it have less weight and rises up into the atmosphere. What a motherfucking assholes.
What we thought could have been fireworks, but we thought, it's a bit odd. They're out there. It was raining. Who would be out there shooting fireworks off in the rain?
Oh, it was already raining, and by shooting more silver iodide into the clouds, it's going to start to rain more.
But it was that night that actually we had the 22.5 or more. The scale stopped counting at that volume.
I wonder if they also used this magic fairy dust in the 1920s, when there was like a 39 inches rain in 36 hours and 235 deaths in Texas. You read that flat earth model tells us flying water, I mean clouds, are impossible. Because in your model, the sun is in the clouds. So if the clouds are water and the sun give up scorching heat, that's what the Bible say, then we should see some kind of effect when the sun hangs in the clouds. Sorry guys, but your model don't allow the clouds to be flying water. In all the models where people believe in the water cycle, clouds are just impossible. This device creates water particles 50% smaller than the particles in clouds, according to the science. And it's very sensitive for wind. And as you can see, it don't rises up into a cloud. You can create a cloud, but you have to contain it. And my hand becomes wet when I keep it into this so-called mist. 50% smaller also means 50% less weight. It's clearly clouds are not some magic flying water. You guys are bastardizing this earth with the globe earth water cycle, you piece of shit.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
the only thing we accept is testable, verifiable, repeatable evidence.
That's right.
The only thing that's submissible.
Testable, verifiable, and repeatable, you say. Well, in this case, you don't have any, but you're repeating hardcore the mainstream media who deceives us for many years, you fucking clowns.
That's how they do away with that conspiracy theory. So some people are saying that they're cloud seeding these clouds and that they're causing the Texas floods with weather modification and manipulation. But this is nothing but cuckoo conspiracy theories because, as we all know, cloud seeding can only make a cloud rain just a little teensy bit.
So according to you, they can drag so much water out of these clouds to cause the floods. If I was you, I would start at the first step, trying to prove clouds contain any water. It makes or breaks your idea about the globe earth water cycle and cloud seeding. You guys need to go back to the drawing board and walk away from this globe earth water cycle system you believe in.
Not enough to flood the entire state of Texas, you guys. So quit being stupid. Climate change is the reason why Texas flooded, not because of any weather modification.
Flying water, Jake? No, clouds are not flying water. And sorry guys, I just made your videos fucking worthless.